Sexual misconduct scandals dominating the headlines this week. Apologies by Senator Al Franken. Denials by Alabama GOP Senate candidate Roy Moore. Here to react to it all, syndicated columnist and host of The Ben Shapiro Show. Ben Shapiro joins me now. Thanks for being here tonight on Justice. Your first time, Ben. We're thrilled to have you on. All right, Ben, I want to call for the sound of Kirsten Gillibrand from New York when she's being questioned by a New York Times reporter. Why don't you take a listen?
Is it your view that the President Clinton should have stepped down at that time, given the allegations?
Yes, I think that is the appropriate response.
Don't you think it's rather interesting that within 10 months, where Senator Gillibrand from New York is like, Hillary Clinton is a role model for women, we love her, she's great, and she's going to drag along her hubby Bill, and then all of a sudden, yeah, that guy should have resigned. Besides being a hypocrite, isn't she opportunistic, and should people feel comfortable with her as a United States Senator?
Well, I mean, I'm not sure that they should feel comfortable with her as a United States Senator in any circumstances, but certainly, you know, this notion that Democrats have suddenly decided that Bill Clinton should have been impeached 20 years ago, this idea we're going to get in Doc Brown's time machine and go back and get rid of Clinton then, you know, they were all giving him a standing ovation in the Rose Garden when he was impeached, and now they're coming out and saying, 10 months after he becomes politically useless to them, now they're going to throw his corpse under the bus. And when they finally get a chance to condemn somebody who's actually sitting right now, right, Senator Franken, then all of a sudden they say, oh, well, you know what we want? We don't want him to go. What we'd really like is a Senate Ethics Committee investigation. And for people who don't know what a Senate Ethics Committee investigation is, the answer is it's nothing. It's a big nothing. Between 2007 and 2016, there were something like 613 reports to the Senate Ethics Committee for investigation, and there were 0 sanctions, none. So the idea, I mean, Al Franken called for an investigation of himself. He said, I'd like a Senate ethics investigation of me. Yeah. Okay, if you're guilty of stuff, and we know he's guilty, there's a picture of him trying to grab a lady's boobs on... while she's sleeping. There's not a lot to investigate there. If you know you're guilty and you're calling for an investigation, that probably suggests that the investigation doesn't mean a whole hell of a lot.
But the whole thing is, when he apologized, and people say, oh, he's so great, he apologized. Hillary apologized, she said, you know, as if she should be telling women how they should react in cases like this. The truth is, he apologized for taking the picture. He didn't apologize for doing all the things she accused him of doing. And yet the left that claims to be the protectors and the guardians of women are the party that never believed women. Hillary Clinton was part of the party that trashed women. I mean, do we owe women like Monica Lewinsky, on whose dress the semen was found, of the President of the United States, talk about an imbalance of power between a president and an intern? Do we owe her an apology? Do we owe Juanita Broderick an apology, who made an immediate outcry regarding a rape to a minimum of 5 women?
That's exactly right. I mean, if you look at the Juanita Broderick story particularly, last year President Trump during the campaign brought up Broderick, and the media said it was completely inappropriate for him to do so. How dare he bring up Juanita Broderick? Now we have op-eds in the New York Times about how Democrats suddenly believe Juanita Broderick, which says to me that this is much more an issue of political convenience for Democrats than it is about any sort of principle that they're trying to uphold. Suddenly they've become conservatives, you know, typical kind of traditionalist conservatives when it comes to sexual misconduct, except when it comes to their own people, of course. There they maintain their old standard.
And you know what's interesting? For years, we have been paying off, the taxpayers, you and me, for the sexual misdeeds of those in Congress. Should Al Franken be forced to resign?
I think Franken should go. I think he should be forced to resign. I mean,
what about
it doesn't seem to me.
Roy Moore in Alabama? What should happen to him?
I've said that Moore should step down from the race, and I think that if he's elected, he should immediately be not seated. I mean, I think that the allegations against Roy Moore are incredibly serious. They seem to me very credible. He's done almost nothing to rebut any of the serious allegations made against him. And the idea that we are going to be seating people with credible allegations of child molestation against them that haven't been rebutted in any serious way, that doesn't make a lot of sense to me on any level. Listen, if we're going to have a country, if we're going to have a social fabric where we can actually trust each other regardless of what side of the political aisle we're on, then we're going to need to have some sort of standards for the character of the people that we seat in high office. I mean, this is getting to be, you know, beyond the pale, and it has been for 20 years, but it seems to be getting worse.
Fight over tax reform has shifted to the Senate, and the fireworks are already flaring. So let's get right to our own fireworks with my star panel tonight. Chairman of the American Conservative Union, Matt Schlapp, and former aide to Senator Chuck Schumer, radio talk show host Chris Hahn joins me tonight. All right, guys, I want to have a discussion about the tax bill. And I don't want to have a political argument. I really want to have a discussion for my viewers. The bottom line is this. I don't know a lot about taxes. I don't get it. I get it from an accountant. I sign what he tells me to sign, and that's it. Matt, what do you say the benefit is to the ordinary working American?
The ordinary working American has not seen their take-home pay increase in over a decade, Judge. And so what the hope is with this tax plan, and the crown jewel of it, is to allow investors to invest into private enterprises, into their companies, to grow economic prospects so that more middle-class Americans have job prospects, they can get a better job, they can get a promotion at work, and we will do that by making America's income tax rate for corporations competitive once again with the globe.
Stop. Let me see if I get it. So
Okay.
you're saying by reducing the corporate tax rate from 35 to 20%, it's going to help people, businesses, and they're going to hire more people? Yes, no?
Yes.
Okay. Chris, is that true?
It's absolutely false.
Why
to
is
the
that?
extent that businesses to the extent that big corporations take that money and invest it into their product and into their facilities, they will further automate and actually cost jobs. What they're going to do with that money is give
Chris,
dividends
can you stop
and
for a
actually
minute?
buy back
Chris,
stock.
I said, please stop, Chris. Chris, please stop. It's not big corporations that we're talking about. Small businesses we're talking about. That is the vast majority of Americans. We're talking about mom and pop stores. We're talking about businesses.
Yeah.
You can talk about Exxon and Mobil. Wait a minute, Chris. Come on.
Yeah.
I want to have a real conversation tonight. My viewers deserve that.
Okay.
If
so
the business, if I have a plumber, if my electrician, if this guy is able to pay less in corporate taxes, isn't it better for him?
Yes, but this bill doesn't do that for him because most of those people are S-corps, which are pass-throughs right onto their regular personal income taxes, and most of them will see their taxes rise. Calling this a middle-class tax increase is as big a lie as if you like your plan, you can keep your plan.
Oh, so
this
now
will
you
be
admit Obama
Paul
lied.
Ryan's Waterloo and
wouldn't
Mitch
admit that a year
McConnell's
ago.
Waterloo, and if Donald Trump is not careful, it'll be his Waterloo.
Okay, thanks, but you weren't willing to say that. That's why I don't want to be political now. This is about American money.
I'm not.
That's right.
All right, Matt, what's your response to that?
So look, this is just an obvious thing. Even there's even a lot of Democrats who've been pushing reducing the corporate income tax because America has one of the highest corporate income taxes on the globe.
We know.
So
It's got to go down. But who does it help?
So let's go to the second piece of this, these small businesses that Chris was talking about, these pass-through entities that pay their income in their business, but they get to pay the tax rate as an individual.
Right.
That gets reduced to 25% in the House plan. There's a different plan in the Senate, but only 30% of their income, to make it more complicated, goes through the 25% rate. So Chris has a point that for small business people, they don't get as big of a tax cut as the big corporations, which gives people a talking point on that. But still, small businesses could come out with lower taxes as well in this bill.
All right, so that goes to Chris. All right, but let's talk about decreasing the mortgage deduction. All right, so they're decreasing the mortgage deduction, and in states like New York, New Jersey, California, some of the tax rates and what we pay in real estate taxes, state and local taxes, I mean, they're telling the states, you caused the problem, you eat it. Should we have to eat it, Chris?
Right.
You live in New York.
Absolutely. Look, this is the economic engine of the country, and there are higher taxes here, yes. And I think something needs to be done about that.
How about New Jersey?
But it is. New York, the Northeast is the economic engine of the country.
California?
So is California.
What's their excuse?
There's a lot of economic There's a lot of economic activity in these states, and they send more money to Washington than they get back. And look, if you want to do something about the state and local deduction, you phase it in over 20 years so that they have time to adjust. But doing it this way is going to raise taxes on a lot of small businesses we were just talking about. They're going to lose very popular deductions, and that's not going to be good for working men and women across this country.
I'm not going to be slighted as a Kansan because I think we do a lot of economic work out there too. But I agree with Chris that when you take away a big deduction,
Stop it, Chris.
when you take away a big deduction, really, let's be honest, that's the same thing as a tax increase. So the problem is, if you come from a big tax state like New Jersey, like New York, like California, even if you're a conservative living in those states, you're going to have a big tax increase due to no fault of your own, simply because you don't get to write off those taxes in a sense.
That's a problem. All right.
It's a big problem.
Matt Schlapp, Chris Hahn,
Right.
thanks for being with us.
Okay.
And
Spare us the bank shots, spare us the sarcasm and the satire, and
I'm going to spare it, but I'm going to just say to you that I come from the poor people, and I've been here working my whole stinking career for people who don't have a chance. And I really resent anybody saying that I'm just doing this for the rich. Give me a break. I think you guys overplay that all the time, and it gets old. And frankly, you ought to quit it.
Mr. Chairman, the public
Wait a minute,
believes it.
I'm not through. Okay. I get kind of sick and tired of it. True, it's a nice political play.
Well, Mr.
But
Chairman,
it's not true.
with all due respect, I get sick and tired of the richest people
Regular
in
order,
this country
Mr. Chairman.
getting richer and
Regular
richer
order.
and richer.
Order.
And middle, we do a tax
Regular
cut for the
order.
rich and middle class
Wait a
trade.
minute, I'm
Regular
gonna-
order.
And over and over
Wait
again.
just
How
a
many
second.
times do we do this before we learn this, Mr. Chairman?
Listen, I've honored you by allowing you to spout off here. And what you said was not right. That's all I'm saying. I come from the lower middle class originally. We didn't have anything. So don't spew that stuff on me. I get a little tired of that crap. And let me just say something. If we worked together, we could pull this country out of every mess it's in. And we could do a lot of the things that you're talking about, too. And I think I've got a reputation of having worked together with Democrats.
Let's start with Chip.
Not starting with Chip. I did it. I've done it for years. I've got more bills.
Start with Chip
I
today.
got more bills passed than everybody on this committee put together. And they've been passed for the benefit of people in this country.